Hey, do you guys like gaming, politics, anything in between? Well, if you want to hear me talk about that with someone just myself for once, then you can check out my second channel, which is called The Rough Riders. Right now we only have one video out, which is the Republican debate, the fourth one. But it's a really good discussion, and it really gives you something different other than just me talking for once. So, yeah. Hello! So, sorry I couldn't get right to it, but there was a Democratic debate, the second one. It was kind of crazy how close it was to the fourth Republican debate. It was, 2 days after it? But interesting debate. Not outstanding by any means. I wouldn't say it was an outstanding debate. First of all, I don't think anyone had a particularly stellar performance. I don't think anything will be affected by this. I don't imagine anyone going up or down in the polls, like overall. But the debate definitely started off very weak. It got a lot better throughout, from the middle to the end. It got a lot more interesting. But the interactions between the candidates, as well as just substance in general, they started the debate off on more foreign policy focused stuff after all the Paris shootings and everything, which is understandable. But you could tell it affected Bernie's performance for sure. In the beginning, he was not strong at all, in that he didn't seem prepared for foreign policy sort of debate questions, because I'm sure he was like rehearsing his a lot of his talking points. Foreign policy is by no means his talking points. That's probably his weakest factor, in fact. And that's why there was actually an article going around saying how some of Bernie's aides were really complaining about the switch, because they announced beforehand that the debate was gonna change to be more focused on foreign policy. At the time, it seemed like it was gonna be like entirely focused on foreign policy. That's what I was expecting. So when it started off and no one had like solid answers, really, I was like, oh boy, are we in for 2 hours of this? But no, they actually surprisingly didn't take up much time at all with that. It was just the beginning. They gave like a moment of silence and then had more, how would you handle this kind of situations? I think this will hurt Hillary in the long run, this kind of talk, because these Paris shootings really brought up the whole Iraq war vote, and she did not have great answers to most of it. Bernie and Martin O'Malley kind of tag teamed her on this. I was surprised by how aggressive Bernie was, really. He's never really been that aggressive towards Hillary, like to her face. But I feel like it was kind of, he felt he had to do something to pick up some steam here. So he's gonna be like more aggressive and direct towards Hillary. Martin O'Malley had a lot of the similar things to say, especially on Wall Street. Hillary did not have good answers for Wall Street. She even brought up like 9/11. She pulled the 9/11 card trying to defend herself. That was apparently the most talked about moment on Twitter or something like that they brought up. But I don't know if it was the best response. I just hate it when people pull the 9/11 card. Chris Christie does it a lot. He brings up the Hurricane Sandy card a lot as well, but people bring up the 9/11 card. They bring up all these just complete scapegoat responses, which is a lot of what Hillary had in this debate. Bernie, like I said, was weak in the beginning, but I thought he really picked up steam midway through. He had a lot of really solid statements, as he usually does. It was a lot of the same talking points, though. It was kind of like, they were like, okay, we're going to talk about the middle class, essentially income inequality and wealth disparity. I'm like, wait, well, that's literally Bernie's entire platform. It's middle class, so he better do well here. And of course, he got roaring applause for a few of his statements. It was on middle class and Wall Street. Those are his two biggest things. You got great applause for a couple of things he said. O'Malley had a great thing to say on immigration. He had a really solid statement. I was so surprised by how much I agreed with O'Malley in general in the debate. To be honest, I think he tied Bernie overall, essentially. So essentially no winner of the debate, just I think Hillary was the loser. At the same time, I don't think she's going to drop. Just she's the loser on substance alone. Don't think it will affect her rankings. And she was also still the most talked about candidate, so that's still going to help her get her name out more. So people are seeing her defending herself on the Iraq or on Wall Street, and people, of course, a lot of people don't like it, but you're always going to get more. If you're getting more people, you're going to have the people that do. So I think that'll, if anything, this just solidifies where everyone's at. O'Malley, I thought, was a lot more solid than the first debate. He obviously stood out a lot more because there was only 3. Do I think he has a chance at winning? No. Not even remotely, but I thought he had great points to add, and I think it kept the discussion going. I was glad he was there to challenge Hillary as well. That was very well needed. But yeah, overall not an outstanding debate. Really didn't affect anything. It was kind of, the timing was awful too. Saturday night, really? Like, great. It was great for me, sure. I'll be up that night, but I'm not watching sports. That's not me, but they literally don't expect anyone to watch, I guess. So, literally, this is probably the most pointless debate so far out of them all. But yeah, I agree with a lot of what Bernie and O'Malley had to say. I think Bernie's biggest problem is substance or specifics. Because his statements rally a lot of the Democratic voters. They really get behind a lot of his bold statements. Wall Street, middle class, income inequality, minimum wage, all these things. But he didn't have specifics on his tax plan yet, which is understandable because it's such a complex thing to establish. But people want the statistics, and when you're asked for specifics and you don't have them, it makes you look a little bad. That's where he brought up the whole Eisenhower being more of a socialist thing because he was during the 90% tax. There were a lot of crazy statements, I feel like, because this was one of the least prepared debates in terms of they didn't know quite what to expect. So he had these big statements. Martin O'Malley's statement on Trump, Hillary's defense of her Wall Street, and then Bernie's socialist statement about Eisenhower. But yeah, thank you for watching. And I don't know, just there's not much. I feel like we're not going to get much more out of these Democratic debates. They need to really switch up some of what they talk about, I guess. But I mean, we've got the same 3 candidates, and the only thing that's going to change is Martin O'Malley dropping off eventually. So it's Bernie versus Hillary all the way, and I don't know if Bernie will ever be able to make up kind of ground in a debate format. So thank you very much, and have a nice day, morning, evening.
Follow me on Twitter